is a memory of mine which always returns whenever I think about fitting in. I remember shifting school from Nainital to my hometown again. New classrooms, new faces, new unspoken rules for how people talked, how they laughed, and even how they bonded. I would walk into every room with curiosity and a quiet question inside me. How do I become a part of this world without losing the world inside me? At first, I assumed that fitting in meant replacing my personality with whatever was already accepted around me. So, I tried doing exactly that. I softened parts of myself, exaggerated others, adjusted my humor, and even edited the way I walked during school dispersal. But over time, something unexpected happened. I realized I wasn't losing myself. I was discovering more of myself by learning new ways to communicate, new ways to understand people, and new ways to hold multiple perspectives at once. Instead of shrinking, I was expanding, and that is when it struck me. Fitting in is not about erasure, it's about evolution. And this evolution shows up in places far more ordinary than we realize. We all do this dance, these tiny subconscious adjustments every single day. The human mind is constantly editing your behavior to match the crowd. We think we're being spontaneous, but we're actually following a brilliantly complex, unspoken script. This might sound dramatic to you, but your brain is essentially a social chameleon with PhD in disguise. Before moving further, what if I tell you the moments you change yourself to fit in were actually the moments you grew the most? That we don't fit in to disappear, but to expand. This isn't just psychology, it's personal artistry. More like fitting in is your own haute couture. You might be wondering, what is this? It is a fashion term used for the garments which are not mass produced or fast fashion, the ones we see in malls in bulks. These are designed specifically for your body, your proportions, your story. The process of fitting into the social environment works exactly the same way as creating the bespoke garment. It's a process of careful measurement, adjustment, and refinement, not replacement. So, here are the graphs. You are the high fashion garment, the social environment is the client's vision, and fitting in is your tailoring process. Now, think about the situation when we all try to fit in, like walking into any unfamiliar room, shifting to a new entire city for a job or school, or you just got married. These situations don't require you to delete your personality. It requires you to refine it. Instead of shrinking there, you expanded your capacity to understand the souls around you. Now, coming back to the present, if you look around the room for a second and quietly observe somebody sitting near you, notice how your own energy shifts slightly. Without intention, your posture mirrors and your attention aligns. This happens because your mind is constantly reading the environment and adjusting you enough to feel connected. Instead of shrinking there, you expanded. This process is visible everywhere, right down to how we adapt the accents. We all have that friend that returned from abroad with a new high inflection. Their sudden, hey, it's all good. Would you like a glass of water? Sounds as though their dialect immigrated through customs. This highlights the subconscious shift designed purely to fit into a social group. Because fitting in at its core is about creating diversity within yourself, not around you. And if you think about it honestly, we all have fit into spaces that were not our innate nature, culture, or moral, simply because acceptance feels natural. Humans do this automatically. And speaking of automatic, let's try something simple. This is an illustration of a person passing through groups. Each group is represented by a different color. For the next few seconds, all I want you to is quietly observe how the color slightly shifts when the person passes through each group. But also notice what stays the same. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what does it remind you of in your own life? What you just saw was the psychology of fitting in. As the person passes through each group, the color shifts. Not drastically, but subtly. The dominant shade, which was the core identity of the individual, never disappeared. It doesn't get replaced or diluted. It slightly adjusts its tone to match the colors around it. This is exactly what humans do. We don't become new persons in different rooms. We discover new versions of ourselves in the same person. With family, we speak one emotional language. With friends, another. With teachers, colleagues, or strangers, a third. Each shift here is not erasure, it's evolution. And for the person in the image, it's not losing themselves. They are learning how many extraordinary shades they are capable of being. So, here are the points at the core of this idea. First, fitting in encourages expansion. Whenever you fit in with awareness, you tend to develop a new shade. Just like the color theory, you remain the same color, but you evolve into richer tones. Imitation encourages loss. When you fit in out of desperation, admiration turns into imitation, and imitation dissolves one original self. Honesty protects identity. The more honest you stay about your values and nature, the easier it becomes for you to experience new versions of yourself without abandoning the real one. Fourth, understanding builds connection. Fitting in teaches empathy and flexibility, two skills that allow you to coexist in diverse spaces without discomfort or resistance. So, the points I discussed here right now shapes the difference between shrinking and expanding. And people even experience this in crowd, just like you did. When hundreds of people clap together, they tend to gradually match the rhythm, not to hide who they are, but your brain prefers synchrony. Science literally shows this. Neuroscience calls it intrapersonal synchronization. Our brain releases comfort signals whenever we blend into a collective rhythm. It is instinctual, not intentional. In fact, studies show 82% of employees adjust their communication style within the first week of their joining. Around 67 admit that they change their feedback tone depending on the hierarchy. And around 74% admit that they mirror the posture of their colleagues without realizing it. You think this is manipulation, but it is not. This is human design. It is Bandura's social learning theory in real life, where we observe, absorb, and adjust. Evolutionary psychology supports it too. Humans survived because we cooperated. And fitting in was the protective tool. And the humanistic perspective adds another layer by stating that whenever we fit in with awareness, we grow our inner world. But what about the scary part? Fitting in is also harmful, but only when we confuse adapting with unconsciously imitating. To strike out this harmfulness, we should be honest to ourselves and should maintain a shared balance between the true identity and others. And when we realized that fitting in was never about becoming smaller, but about becoming broader, we stop fearing it. We start to embrace it as something powerful. We begin to see it as a form of emotional intelligence, and we begin to see it as a form of evolution. And in that moment, you realize and finally step into the most graceful truth. Fitting in was never about pretending to be someone else. It was about discovering how many extraordinary versions you were capable of being. Throughout my journey, what I learned was the world never needed you to be the single, perfect, polished, permanent versions of yourself. It needed all the versions you were capable of becoming, like the quiet ones, the loud ones, the uncertain ones, the confident ones, the healing ones, the evolving ones. Because fitting in was never designed to make you vanish. It was designed to make you grow, not into someone else, but into someone bigger than the person you were yesterday. So, don't fit in to disappear, but to evolve.